Here's the easiest way to work out your LTV to CAC ratio so that you know how much money you can spend on growing your business in different ways, like spending on advertising, hiring new team members, spending time on R&D and things like that. So I've got this GPT in front of you just now. So all you need to do is go click me, and it's going to ask you 4 questions, but one at a time. I'll run you through each of these questions and how to kind of answer them. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to explain how you can find this data if you don't know where to find it. So the first question, on average, how much does a customer pay you for each month or per purchase if you've got an e-commerce store? So I might say roughly, the average customer pays me $2,000 per month, right? That's an easy one. And if you've got a different business with different products and different pricing, then you might want to calculate your entire revenue divided by your customers, and you'll work that out. So 2, how long do they usually stay a customer, in months or years? Now, if you don't know this, but you know your churn percentage each month, you can put your churn percentage. You can say, I've got a 5% churn every month. You could say something like that, and it will still calculate it for you. Or if you know that the average client stays on for 8 months, then I could just say something like that. Okay, so how much does it cost you to get one new customer? Let's say that on Google Ads is telling me that it cost me $400 to get a new sale coming through. Let's just oversimplify it, but let's say that was the case. And so it might clarify or it might not. Sometimes it will clarify. And then what's your profit margin per sale? So if you charge $100 and you keep $60 after all costs and everything done, and that's what you get to keep at the end of the day, without the tax man coming yet, then your margin would be 60% or 60% gross margins, right? This is not net margins. This is not after tax or anything like that. So let's say, for example, our profit margin would be 40% or 30%. Let's say 30%. So in just a few seconds, it will calculate some of this data for you and crunch some numbers. So what we can see is our lifetime value is $16,000. So as I said at the start, we charge $2,000 a month and people stay for 8 months. So of course, 2 times 8 is 16. So $16,000. Our LTV to CAC ratio based on our $400 to get a new customer is 40 to 1, which is massive because what's considered the minimum benchmark to be profitable is 3 to 1. Okay, so that's good. Now, your lifetime gross profit, after all the costs and all this kind of stuff, it's $4,800 left on what I can spend on my growth for my business. So if we actually take the gross profit to CAC ratio, it's really 12 to 1. It's not 40 to 1, it's 12 to 1, okay? Now you might want to feed it some extra variables in all your costs and price. So you might say, oh, my agency is charging me this per month. And my sales guy who closes people charges me this. And you can do that as well. But it's not intended or designed for you to calculate your office costs and your overhead like electricity. You don't calculate any of that. You're just calculating the direct costs in order to get that new customer, like the advertising and the advertising team and all that kind of stuff. So what does this mean in plain English? So each customer brings about $16K before they leave, and you spend about $400 to get them. So they're worth 40 times that in sales. After costs, you keep around 4.8K in real profit for each customer. For every dollar you put into ads, you're making about $12 back, really, at the end of the day. And so that just tells you or gives you an indicator on what you can spend to keep buying new customers. So you're not being silly with your money, all right? Because the worst thing you can do is look at, this value and keep spending over 16 grand and keep spending silly to get new customers when it actually doesn't make sense for your business model. And so that's, you can spend up to $4,800 to get a new customer, but you can't spend any more than that because you'll be losing a lot of money. Okay. Now, if you spent $4,800 to get a new customer, you'd still break even because that's the total amount of money you would make after all of the, the gross profit, right? So I hope that makes sense. I hope that wasn't too confusing. Now, if you don't know where to find a lot of these details, I'll just give you a few hints. This is from our school community and the conversion clinic. And so the first question, on average, how much does a customer pay you each month or per purchase? So you could look at your last 5 to 10 invoices if you've got different prices for different proposals, and you could just average them. You could check your Stripe account and have a look at the average, like the amount of money you made for the entire year, and divide that by the total number of all customers, not new customers, all customers. If you sell one product or service, then of course it's just the price of that. Right? Now, number 2, how long do they usually stay a customer, or how many times do they usually buy? So It's highly recommended to add your churn percentage if you know it. If you got a Stripe account and you look at your monthly churn, you can put in your monthly churn and tell it it's your monthly churn. Don't just say churn is this percent. Tell it monthly or annual churn, or subscriber churn versus this churn. It'll work backwards and give you a number. Now, if you got subscriptions, you can just calculate the amount of months that they stay on before canceling on average, or if it's a one-time purchase or repeat purchases for e-commerce, then you look at, CRM invoices and you just calculate from that or memory. Do they usually buy once or twice or 3 times? Just give it a ballpark figure so you're not guessing all day long to work this out. Now, how much does it cost you to get a new customer, or your customer acquisition cost? So if you spent $3,000 for the month and you only got 5 new customers, then that will be your customer acquisition cost. Final question, what's your profit margin per sale? So a simpler way to think about this, if you sell something for $100 and it costs you $70 to deliver the good or whatever, and included of that cost is the attracting that person with your ads, and you're left with $30 remaining, then it's 30% margins or gross profit. So don't include your office rent, don't include your admin salaries and all that kind of stuff. So I hope that was helpful. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.